As I'm looking through my notes, I said I didn't introduce myself last time. I'm Paul Strasser. I'll fix my name next time when I log in. I'll put my whole name there. But as we're trudging through, we talked about this earlier, but if you're new, we figured out that once they start mailing out ballots the first week of May, there's like no chance any of us will get to hear any of the candidates in person. I mean, absolutely no way before we start voting. We could argue and complain about the all mail-in ballots, but that's being settled in various lawsuits as we trudge through. So as we go through tonight, I'm going to introduce Ron Bratsch is next. I would say he has a website, but he doesn't have a website. So Ron, you might want to work on that. He's running for supervisor for Ward 4. Now, just so people understand the way it works in Carson City, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you have to live within that ward to run for that ward, but everybody in Carson City votes for you. And the way the wards are determined is you go to your precinct number, your first precinct number, like I'm 411, so I fall within Ward 4. Does that make sense? So, Ron, if you could introduce yourself, please, and then we'll start the questions.
All right. Ron Bratsch. Started my career in the Minnesota Army National Guard. After a couple of years of doing that, I decided to enlist in the Marine Corps. Spent a year in Okinawa in the 4 years. My last 2 years were in Southern California, where I met and married my wife of over 30 years now. I'm currently in the American Legion on the Honor Guard team. When I was in Southern California, back to that, I owned a private security company. Had what did I have? Over 40 employees. When I came up to Northern Nevada in 2000, shortly after that, I became a Nevada correctional officer. While I was a correctional officer, I was involved in the union. I was a regional VP. I was always the conservative in the room, and had a lot of confrontation with my fellow union members over that. But I did gain their respect in time because I did hold a good line. While I was doing that, I also volunteered and was on the Administrative Regulation Committee for the prison. And while my last year, I was appointed by Governor Sandoval to the Public Employees Benefit Program. I was the first classified employee to ever be seated on that board. I also volunteer at FISH, which is Friends in Service Helping. Through the years, I was a roller hockey coach of a police department roller hockey team in Southern California. That was a bunch of cops, and we wound up later getting a bronze medal in the 1999 Police Olympics. Also, many years of coaching youth sports like roller hockey and football. Lots of organization and doing things through the years.
As we trudge through, I'm going to ask you 3 or 4 questions, depending upon time, how it goes through. And like I said last time, and just in case anybody didn't hear this, this isn't some big gotcha questions. These are all questions that were pre-mailed to all of the candidates ahead of time so they could kind of gather their thoughts, so they're not, you know what I mean, we're not all stumbling trying to figure out what they're trying to say. So we're not all trained professionals. We're not, you always think of John Kerry, who's been doing this for 40, 50 years, and everybody adulates him. Oh, he can get up and say whatever. Well, he gets up and says nothing about nothing. I don't want that, but just an opportunity for people to be able to gather their thoughts and make sure they speak well. When you're elected, how are you going to deal with the revenue shortfall due to the coronavirus? And what is next for after the current cuts have been made?
Well, what we're going to have to look at is what CIPs are outstanding, which money is going out. really evaluate what's there and see if there's money that can be stopped on the flow out, and possibly evaluate maybe cutting some of the things that we think we can improve for who knows how long. It's going to be some hard decisions, and I'm willing to make the tough decisions on maybe looking at the long term of different positions that will no longer be able to be supported due to the shortfalls. We're really going to have to sit down and evaluate who's making what and how important it is to the city overall as a whole.
Next question. How do you feel about the economic development to build and support local businesses and visitors to Carson City?
The development to build support, we just have to show the community that we care about them and the businesses. Whenever we have things that we want to do overall, definitely keep our an open mind. Let the community and the businesses know that we're willing to work with them, not dictate to them. A lot of the things that I see happening are some spots that there's decisions made and things that are made for decisions, and I don't know if it's always in the best interests of the community overall as a whole as far as spending the money. I'm very fiscally conservative, and I don't want to spend the extra money and then have to go back to the taxpayers going, hey, give me some more. This is fun. I don't think it's fun for any of our people in the community to keep reaching in their pocket. I think they know how to spend their own money. They don't need us doing it for them.
How do you want to make an impact or difference while serving the Carson City residents?
I see a lot of just the relationship we have. Like I said, to show that we can pay the bills we're having, quit spending tomorrow's dollars through, different bond measures. I see bonds being needed for a lot of things, but at the same time, shouldn't we be saving for those so we aren't just spending the future of our city at a low interest rate? I was at a meeting not too long ago, and one of the supervisors jokingly said, well, shoot, pretty soon there'll be zero interest, so we should just give up the farm and spend all tomorrow's dollars, and pretty soon they'll be paying us to take money. These interest rates are getting so low. I don't believe that we should be spending tomorrow's dollars and putting it on the future taxes of our community and really putting it to where we're having shortfalls. So one of the things I'd like to see done is bond measures altogether slowly go away and quit spending tomorrow's dollars and be ready for COVID or who knows what's next. I don't think we're coming into any settling times in the near future.
If you could do anything, what would be your signature project to bring to the city?
That's a tough question because saving money means you're not going to be making monuments for people and things like that.
If you could
sorry,
do
Paul,
anything,
I'm not getting a monument.
If you could do anything, what would be your signature project? Don't worry about money. Just what would you do?
The big thing I think is to make sure our streets are smooth and safe, and get these potholes taken care of. I see a lot of things that just aren't good. We're spending a lot of money on the South Carson project, the downtown project, and really letting the rest of the city deteriorate. I believe those streets definitely needed to be updated and fixed, but did they need all new curbing and all new things in the streets narrowed? And personally, I don't like going downtown anymore. One of the signature things I've heard is, I want a place where people go to, not go through. And one of the things I always remember when I drove through, if I needed something, I'd stop. Now I'm not going through, I'm going around. And downtown, I think, is going to be jeopardized in the long run. They're not going to get my $5 little, well, I better stop and get me a soda here because I'm a little thirsty. That's going to the 580 corridor now, not the downtown corridor. Also, the gas stations in the downtown area, I bet you they're hurting big time now that the 580's going through. And, you know, the Maverick. And personally, I go to Costco, but if I was heading home, I'd stop at the Maverick. And yeah, the gas will go up to the Maverick and stuff, but the downtown Shell station, I'm sure the business is going down. I'm not going to Shell way out. Yeah, I see you, Lori. I'd have to see the numbers, but I believe the Maverick and everything else is where the money is for the gas.
Hey, Paul, I've got a couple of questions just regarding, spending money kind of thing. So
Okay, go ahead.
Ron, would you support increasing the residential construction tax from $1,000 to $2,000 to assist Carson City with its failing infrastructure within its park system?
I don't think we should raise any of the taxes if there's a way we can figure it out with what we're getting. Yeah, the parks, I don't see them failing. We have plenty of parks. They just opened a new one. When we do redevelopment, I was at ribbon cutting with Lori not too long ago over on Racetrack. I think it was a beautiful thing, and it was nice that when they're building a new area for a lot of new homes, I think they should support a park in their area. I know my family will be using that park right off Racetrack. It's fairly close to home, and I think it's a beautiful thing, and my granddaughter really likes going there. We go by over Racetrack, and my granddaughter goes, "Hey, Grandpa or Grandma, let's go to the park." And sure enough, we'll take a quick stop again because we're going through it. We don't go to it sometimes, but when we're going through it, we're going to stop because our granddaughter's going to go, "Hey, there's a stop." And that's a per point, I think, of the difference.
Okay, another kind of, spending money kind of question. What is Ron's position on adding a road maintenance fee like sewer, stormwater to the taxpayers to take care of the roads?
The sewer money needs to go to the sewers. I just see a lot of the, again, back to overspending in one area and not saving the money and portioning it out to where it needs to go overall. There's a certain percentage of taxes coming from our fuel that needs to be allotted towards the upkeep, not towards new development of the downtown area. I think we spent a lot of money in that downtown area. Some people say it's beautiful. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder a lot. I've talked to some people and they go, "I miss that iron. I miss the old look. I miss the look of Carson City. It's not the same as it used to be." Some people don't like change. Some people like what they would call progress. I like the old wrought iron and stuff. I see, like I said, I have no desire to go through town. It takes twice as long, but it's nowhere near the time when I spent in the 90s living in LA. So, this is nothing. But I think we're less patient up here because we have the easy movings of the road, and we're not running into the traffic jams of billions of people versus tens of thousands.
Again, another question relating to spending money. Do you support a top to bottom review of current expenditures and means testing of essential versus perhaps less than essential headcount to correct the size of the city staffing?
Oh, definitely. That's right up my ballpark. We need to review everything we're doing there. I'm sure there's some salaries that are, in fact, I know there's some salaries that aren't in line with where they should be. Overall, some people are being rewarded very significantly for their job, and some aren't. So there's going to be a little of that. We got to get some balancing. When we have certain positions, making more than the sheriff. I think the sheriff and the police department is probably one of the most important things we have going in this city, and he's definitely not our top paid person in the city.
Go ahead, Paul.
Ooh, I got a couple more questions since we got plenty of time. We can talk all night. So if you have a question for Ron, please chat it up. If not, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just to torture him. Ron, as we drive around town, we see buildings going up everywhere, houses, residential houses, fourplexes, duplexes, single-family homes, kind of like over the racetrack everywhere. It feels like we're going out of control. When do you think we've had enough?
Well, we're getting close. I think there's still a little room for some of the tighter areas. Let's leave our little rule we have alone. Let's leave our playground a playground. I live next to Prison Hill. It's becoming quite the playground. I think they advertise it too early. There's people there before they get the recto fit of what the trails are supposed to be and people coming off trails. And I don't know if everyone knows, I live on a dirt road, and it's up to the citizens of this dirt road to keep it up. And when those quads start burning out and doing donuts on the dirt road, we have to keep it up. But we definitely want to keep the people in the place. I think we have enough water to sustain. I've been talking to people, about 80,000 people. We're getting close to, 65,000. In the summer, we probably got an extra 10,000 roaming town. So we got room for 5 to 10,000 more people, and we're going to be topped out. That's how I see it, and we better put a top on it. Otherwise, we're going to be sucking dust when it's time to drink some water. I think Lori agrees. I got a smile out of her.
I know. I was looking. Don't worry. We're going to check your math later, and we'll be mailing it up. And another question, just so we kind of talk about it. I drive around town and I see commercial properties empty everywhere. They closed down the Jack in the Box. Adele's closed down and burned down. Restaurants everywhere closing down. It feels like there's just like a lot of commercial vacancies. And God help us, it's still sitting in downtown unsold, the Ormsby House, for the past 20 years or so. Do you have any thoughts what you would do to kind of help that?
Yeah, there's a lot to do with that. We definitely need to be reaching out to more businesses that we can. I guess the positive to all that is a rumor is Chick-fil-A is coming to town. So we'll have another restaurant maybe someday after COVID's out. I wish I could support a lot of our restaurants. Personally, I don't know who's fixing that food. And I guess I'm a little selfish. I only eat what my wife prepares right now. I'm not apt to catching the coronavirus. It's not doesn't sound appealing to me at all. How's that? I've been talking to a lot of people about the Ormsby House. I moved here in 2000. I've never seen the place open. I know my church that I currently go to actually did service there for the last year it was open. They had a lot of fun in the elevators, bringing children to children's services, just working what they could. A beautiful place that it could be. I wish we could figure something out. I don't know where we're going to go with it in the long run, what the personal owners. I've heard there's things they were trying to do, trying to sell, trying to get it through the codes. I don't think we can loosen up the code for code enforcement, because if something happens, then the city will be sued. And we're not going to stick our necks out for some of these businesses. But at the same time, if there's something that can be done, we need to encourage it and definitely do what we can to make it feasible for the future owner without cutting the corners that make it a dangerous place. other businesses. I know in North Carson, the Kmart was empty for a long time. It looks like things are slowly coming there, but it's not full. I've heard they're doing something with a casino right by the Starbucks up there, because one of my friends has uniformity, and being in the security industry as a security manager, of course, we have to deal with security uniforms. So, yeah, keeping my ear to ear to the rail and trying to hear what's coming and what's going and what we can do overall. I'm hoping that we definitely get more input from all of our citizens and our businesses, and let's work as a true community instead of dictating to the owners and the community.
Scott, was there any other questions on the chat?
Just follow up on the Ormsby House. Has anyone done any studies on the Ormsby Hotel?
Oh, we don't want to get into that with Ron.
Okay.
We'll wait for Lori when she speaks, and we'll talk to her.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, it's like the no-win answer. I mean, no matter what we do, there is no right answer. I don't know. It's painful. But as we're getting close, even though he's getting kind of lucked off, he's not going to be here for 40 minutes or close to an hour like PK was. I will ask, as we finish up tonight, Ron, give me 3 reasons why I should vote for you.
Well, I think that I've lived a well-rounded life, learning the hard knocks of life, having to see. I was raised in Minnesota. I got to see firsthand what spending a lot of money will do to your community in the long run. Taxes, more and more. They just want you to open up your wallet and take whatever they want out of it. So the number one thing I want to do is keep the spending limited and not go to the taxpayers. I think, again, they know what to do with their money better than I do. Than what they want. Maybe I know better what to do with their money, but I don't think they want me to be spending their money in how I want to spend it. Let's let them spend it, and we'll take our revenues off the pieces. Let's go with that. Also, I don't have any long-term thoughts on trying to up the sales tax. I know one of my candidates, both of them are pretty liberal, and one of them has worked on getting a chunk out of the sales tax going up for some of their special interests. I believe what her special interest was good, but at the same time, we're going to pay for it for years through a higher sales tax. I also see the open space as part of that higher sales tax. I don't think we need to be dipping further into our citizens and businesses' pockets. And I guess the third one is I'm really watching the neighborhood improvement district, and I'm just concerned about going to these things and dictating to our businesses to pay taxes for maintenance on greenways, street sweeping, snow removal. The city wants to improve. I believe it's not up to this people who live on the streets to upkeep it. Again, it's a neighborhood improvement district. It's involving the businesses. I don't know how soon the city will come to your neighborhood and say it needs to be improved and start doing the roof expansion and then say, hey, homeowner, it's your turn to kick in. To me, it's another way of taxing our citizens and our business. I don't want to go into your pockets any harder than we already have. And, let's try to stay inside of our budgets. Our budgets are there. We have to toe the line. And through being a business owner in Southern California, we definitely had some budgets. We couldn't just go spend and get new equipment for all my officers. how much I wanted to do it. There's things that we just have to hold the line on. Does that answer them all, or do you have some more?
Yes, that was very good. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions before we leave? Because he's got only 25 minutes to go.
No, I think
35 minutes. Anyone have questions?
no. I think we've hit them all.
Okay, then thank you. Thanks, Ron, for showing up. We'll see you again at 8 o'clock when we have our next candidate, Joe Casapillo. Is that how you say it? I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Cassiopa.
Say it again, Lori.
Cassiopa.
Cassiopa.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I was hoping there was more questions or any suggestions from the audience of things we need to look for. I'm open-minded. If there's things we need to look at and really gouge into as city supervisors.
Well, here's one for you. Where does he stand with respect to the Second Amendment and ensuring our citizens have access to our long-standing public range?
That is a wonderful question. I appreciate that. I believe that if our state decides to go against our Second Amendment, I believe that the city and myself as a supervisor will definitely take a stance, just like the sheriffs, and support our local sheriffs that take an oath of office to uphold the Constitution. And I've taken that oath many times. When I went in the Army, when I went in the Marine Corps, when I was sworn in as a reserve police officer down in the LA area, again, when I was a correctional officer, I believe our Constitution is very important and something to live by. As a Marine, you can have my weapon when you pry it off my cold, dead fingers. I don't think I need to say more. Yeah, that's something the Marine Corps definitely did tell me. And adding to that, the Marine Corps motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. I plan to be faithful to my community and look out for their best interests. There's something to the Marines. We're a tight knit branch of the military. We're the smallest branch, even smaller than the Air Force. But without our Zuni friends, we can't get things done. I think our veterans, we owe a lot to them. I don't expect any handouts, but at the same time, I want my fellow veterans that have put their lives on the line fighting in force. Kudos out to them. I was in during all peacetime, willing to fight the fight. I feel fortunate that I never was, but was willing to do so. All our veterans hold the same. And I'm just admiring. Sorry, Frank, are you in a prison? Can you nod? Are you in a prison or a jail? Okay. I'm just looking at your background. Yeah, I spent many years in those places. Tend to be exact. Not always fun, but you got some good stories. I'll leave it at that. Some cool nicknames.
So what, going into the office, what are your top 3 priorities, I guess?
Top 3 priorities, definitely we have to get our spending in line. This COVID, it's going to take some really hard decisions, because we're going to be having to evaluate people's livelihoods. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't know how long this is going to last, and we don't know if it's going to flip into worse or better, but we definitely need to get some money aside to hold through. I think the 3 people that decided not to run this cycle have spent a considerable amount of money of the Carson City, and hopefully we can recover and hold true to having some money in our coffers to be able to survive these things. Unfortunately, it's going to be at the backbone of the city at this point. We may lose some very good people in some really good positions, but anyone that's running right now, if you're elected, you got tough decisions. It's not going to be an easy round coming up, and we're going to. Not just me. We're all going to have to make some tough decisions on behalf of the city. I'm not going to say it's a one-man band. There's no way. It's going to be a team, and I'm hoping to have some good team members once these elections are done. And if I'm not elected, if I don't get through primary, you're going to see me out and about. I've already made commitments to work on other people's campaigns. So win, lose, or draw, if I move on, wonderful. If I don't, you haven't heard the last of me. I think it's to start the next campaign as soon as this one's done. I can't see either person, if I should lose, making any good decisions on behalf of this city.
Okay.
You want two more? You want two more? Or
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Was that enough, or
Got my hand raised.
Hey, Dan, go ahead.
Now, with all this lockdowns of businesses, we got these small businesses just taking the brunt of what's going on. Well, Walmart, Target, and the big box stores remain open. What's your opinion of trying to get stuff opened back up as soon as possible?
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I think that our governor right now is making the decisions for the state that he needs to make for Las Vegas. I think his backbone is in Las Vegas, and that's all he really cares about. They're the ones who, I believe, voted him in. I don't think Carson City, Washoe probably went his way too, unfortunately. But two counties running the state. I don't think we're populated enough or overpopulated, and I don't think any of these rural counties need to be in a full lockdown. I've gone out to businesses. I was at Lowe's today. I have projects that I'm working on, and I'm extra busy with things. But yeah, we need to open this place up. Like I said, I'm a security manager. I don't know if everyone knows, but I supervise the security for the state facilities. So I'm waiting for the DMVs to open. I have people sitting on the bench waiting for things to open. These people are hurting as well. Unfortunately, the unemployment offices are getting threatened left and right via the deeder offices, and they have to add security while we're down. The state's going to be having some major budget problems, and I've already been talked to from some of the state areas that, hey, we're going to have to forego security here and there. I think it puts the state employees at a high risk in some of these locations that have to deal with the public. I know we recently, for a long time, the DMV had one officer, and now they have two security officers. Just so you know, most of my officers are armed, so they can protect the state employees. They are carrying weapons. I probably have 50 armed officers with 50 guns out there through the time. I just see things not going the right way. So we're definitely coming into some things. Yes, we need to open these businesses. Yes, the DMV needs to figure something out, put screens up, put spit plates across the front of all there so people aren't spitting as they talk, or mask only areas. You can't come into the DMV unless you're wearing one of these masks. That way, if you do spray when you talk, some people have a bad habit. You're spraying into your own napkin. I think there's ways to open everything around here or anything. For the most part, we just got to watch that we're not overcrowding and standing. As long as you can keep our distances 6 to 10 feet, I see a lot of businesses being able to do that. If now that the weather is getting nicer, if a business can convert and figure out how to do and have their businesses done on the outdoors where it's open area and still keep a a protective area, as long as you're not facing each other and you're not face to face, I think we're doing things safe. There's very low coronavirus up here. I mean, there's not that many people that are having it. We've had one death in the 4-county area, I think they're going by, and very unfortunate. We're losing anybody. I'm sure the family is devastated, but at the same time, do they need to devastate a whole community or a whole state or a whole country? Those are checks and balances. Unfortunately, they haven't given the counties the opportunity to really sit down that I know of. Lori's probably can answer that better than I can. Has the governor reached out to these cities and counties to see who can open, who can't? I don't think so. No, yeah, I didn't think so. I think there's definitely some counties, you head to some of these counties and they're so scattered out, you don't even, you don't see anyone for 2 hours on the highway. Go down the 50, you probably don't even see a town in spots here and there. How are they going to, unless people are traveling long distances? I don't know what the restrictions could be for travel. Soon, if it got out of hand, if you weren't from that county, you don't get gas. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I definitely think that they're overprotecting us. And, like I said, we have brave souls in some tight areas. I feel imprisoned. Not quite as bad as when I went into prison every night when I was working those graveyard shifts. When you go through the gate and you can't have a cell phone and you can't have anything, and and you're going into these locations and you're outnumbered 100 or 50 to 100 to 1 in doing your thing. They didn't give us any tools. The best thing they would say is get under a tower, and hopefully that tower has a good shot to keep us safe. So yeah, open it up. There are some things I'm sure that can't. I know there were some necessary places. Some of them are questionable. My wife used the car wash for the first time today. Is that really a necessity? I mean, are we weighing out things? Who makes the decision? Closing the golf courses. I've heard they were doing very safe, limited things on the golf courses. Why are our golfers not able to go exercise and play their round? I know when I'm in a party of 4, I can stay 6 feet away from my guys. If I shot a hole in one, I'm sure we can air high five and not hug each other if that should happen. And I think they were doing everything they can to take care of their things. No one wants to catch this virus, so people are taking the precautions.
Okay, Paul.
I'm good. I'll just let them talk. We
Okay.
have some time to kill, so we can break away
Yeah,
and come back later, unless anybody else wants to chit chat. But
I'm willing to chit chat as long as until my hour's up.
okay, well, I mean, if you want to,
We're all on the same page.
I got to break away for a few minutes. So
Okay. Well, it's good seeing you.
Okay, for those 33 people that are on the line, it's about 20 minutes to the top of the hour. You can hang on or you can hang up and dial back and get back into the meeting. The next person coming on at 8 is a candidate for the school district. So, or maybe I think even an incumbent, I'm not sure. But we'll start back up maybe 5 minutes before the top of the hour and go over some housekeeping issues before we take our next questions. Thanks for everything, Ron.
Hey, well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you everyone for coming and listening. And again, you can. I do have a Facebook page. It's Elect Ronald Bratsch. I'm also on Facebook, doing everything I can to get the word out that I can. pretty much doing it on a pretty low budget right now. But we'll see if we can fight hard through this primary and get into the general. It's been pretty tough, as everyone knows. I'm more of a personal guy. It's hard to go out and say, hey, give me some money when you can't sit down and let them know who you are and talk to them and do some things.
So for everybody's benefit, I'm going to chop this up, and I'm going to post this on Facebook so you can see the individual candidate sessions. I'll put it on a YouTube channel. I'll put it on an email out to everybody, so you could share with your family, friends, or watch again. But again, I appreciate you taking the time, Ron.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you, Lori. And keep it safe, Frank. Keep up the good fight. I'm giving you a thumbs up. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your hard work and dedication. I did it for 10 years. Ups and downs.
Thanks, Ron.
Yep. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, I put him in the joint. I didn't watch him there.
Oh, okay. It looks like you're watching them now, though.
Now, that's my lockdown background.
Oh, okay.
I use that for work so that people know that, hey, we're still in lockdown in Nevada. Look.
There's no movement. Okay. So you're on the streets?
I was, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad I'm retired.
I got to get a green screen behind me.
Yeah.
Some pretty interesting stuff up.
Hey, Mr. Cassiopa, you might want to go into your participant and change the name so it doesn't look like you're Michelle. I bet you're using your wife's Zoom account or something.
Let's see, I am.
Yeah, see, you got told on. It's printing out your name as Michelle.
No,
I saw that.
I unmuted him too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. My work computer doesn't have a video card, so I came home and my wife was gracious enough to let me use hers.
Yeah. If you go into participant,
Yeah, I just did it.
actually,
Yeah, you took care of it.
There you go, Joe. There you go. I just thought it was important that people recognized you were on the call.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you actually to everyone that's participating. Ron, I want to say thanks. I know how hard it is to just talk off the cuff to people and really appreciate the people that are willing to learn about the candidates. There's just no good way to do it right now. So thank you, Ron, for participating and letting us know what you think. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And it's good seeing, like you said, it's good seeing everyone here, supporting the community. And what do we got? The school board coming up, right? Or a school. Yeah. It'll be nice to hear what Joe has for our schools, because my kids were all homeschooled. I wasn't.
You were a pioneer, because now everybody's homeschooled.
Exactly. Well, it was nice.
Now that we're talking about it, I'll give you my story. My daughter does not like homeschooling at all. Not one iota, not even a little bit. I mean, bitterly complaining all day long about it.
Well, that's because they can't socialize. At least my kids were in co-ops with, biology classes. My son had it pretty sweet. Is we'd allow him to do his schoolwork at night, and as long as he did all the schoolwork that evening, he got to snowboard all day the next day. So immediate reward for his daily work. And then when he was too tired of snowboarding, he'd say, I don't feel like studying tonight. And he would just study all day and do 2 days the next day when he was well rested up to get back on the slopes.
Oh, you heard my earlier complaint about Heavenly closing, so no snowboarding.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say about Heavenly closing?
Well, they closed, so
Yeah.
now there's people suing Heavenly Vail Resorts because they closed. Because they said they didn't get the full use of their yearly pass.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, I mean, I'll talk mean. They're suing via the state of California because it's easier to sue via the state of California. So, I mean, I don't think Vail Resorts purposely set out to destroy their business model, you know what I mean, for 3/4 of their season. Why you would go sue them is beyond my comprehension, but then, you know, that's what people do.
Well, that's so next year's price of season passes go up because
No, they're doing it.
Lawsuits.
They've already sent out a thing. They're going to discount next year's season pass.
Oh, for people who have it this year?
Yeah.
I know. Well, you got a pretty sweet deal now.
Well, I got a sweet deal now. I'm not saying nothing about my.
No, it's
I'll
through your
talk good about
sacrifice.
Vail Resort forever just for that.
Yeah. No, your sacrifices of how many years you did in your military. Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Thanks again. I only did 5 or 6.5.
I did 28 is what it was.
Yeah.
For both of you, I did 4 active in the infantry and then 4 in reserves while I went to college.
There you go. Yeah, mine was similar. I did 4 in the Corps and 2.5 in the Army National Guard.
Okay.
Back when I started in '81, we were 6-year contracts. So I know when I went to Marine Corps in '83, everyone was like, "Oh, we got 8-year contracts." So when I got out, I sold all my uniforms, and they go, "You can do that?" And I go, "Yeah, my contract's over." Yeah, some people didn't comprehend contract changes and things, and you know,
Oh, yeah.
the fun of the military.
Opportunity.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, good night. Good night, everybody.
Everyone.